Hello and welcome to the Green Machine Live. I'm David, your host, and as always, joined by Nick and Martin. And this is your interactive weekly podcast show, isn't that right, gents?
Yes, yeah.
Yes,
Because
we
we
can see the
because
energy coming from them there,
we like to give the people what they want, David, and that's
and
abusing
that's why
you.
you're back.
That's
isn't
why
it?
I'm back, abusing
Yeah.
us.
How many
and
of me do you see now, Nick? Are we down to two? Are we? Nick was in Amsterdam last week, getting ballooned off his face, while we were here, basically holding the fort, Martin, weren't we? You and I.
Yeah, it's quite nice that Nick did tell us, though, complimented us on our last week's show, which he listened to in the bath, in his apartment.
Yes,
which
yeah.
is put a worrying image in my mind, to be honest.
You love it. But look, lads, you deserve the opportunity last week. I think
deserve it. We deserve it, and you folks, lovely folks out there, deserve us too. As always, this is an interactive live show, so we want to hear your comments. Get involved, have your say what you want. I don't care. Just don't get us sued or taken off the air. That's what I'll do. That's what I'm for, not you. And as always, lads, a big sponsor of ours, don't use ghostgate.com. They are thieving bastards. Yes, they are. If you're booking any trip anywhere, do not use ghostgate.com. Trust me, they're thieving bastards. Done me out 300 quid. Anyway, let us get into it. We have a lovely, lovely show for you here tonight. Cue dance music. So we have our boys in green. We got latest news. We have social media watch, and we have this week back in the day. No, I was going to ask you if you have any idea what it is, because I wanted to keep it as a surprise, but I actually told you, didn't I? So never mind. Let's just go into our boys in green. I'm so professional, lads. Love that picture. Right, so this is our boys in green. So we're going to have a look at how our lads got on. Now, we're not going to bore you with lists, because, you know, if you want the full list of how our guys got on, you can either read that very, very quickly, or you can go onto the Facebook page. Nick, have you put it on the Green Machine Facebook page yet?
I will as soon as we get off.
There you go.
As soon as we get off.
It is available on the Lansdowne Road Facebook page, and I'm sure Nick will, when he gets around to it, he will put it on there. We have the squad, those who should be in the squad but weren't because of injury. The last squad, by the way, the original squad that Stephen Kenny picked, and then players who pretty much been brought out to the glue factory. You know, Nick's favourite there. There's a couple of favourites there,
there is, sadly,
Robbie Brady, eh?
Yeah.
You're going to play
Robbie
again,
Brady,
Nick, yeah?
Kieran Clark, James McCarthy, all my favourites. They're all going to the glue factory.
Do you remember you and I have a little powwow going on about, Robbie Brady's going to play for Ireland again because he's back playing for Bournemouth. And I said, no, he can't even play for Bournemouth. Never mind Ireland.
No.
But anyway.
No, not a hope.
So we have broken it down into 3 sections, and those of a certain age will know exactly what it is. So here's the first section, and we're going to talk about the good. Those of you will know exactly where that's from. Right, lads. So we're going to talk about the good things that our boys in green and girls, and actually girls in green in this particular case, got up to. So we want to start off the good section for our Irish players and congratulate the Liverpool women's team, who were crowned. They actually won it a few weeks ago, didn't they? But they lifted the trophy for the women's championship, and plenty of Irish women there. Nick, you brought this to my attention this morning. Explain yourself.
Yeah, so Liverpool ladies, I mean, a couple of the girls, Megan Campbell and Leanne Kiernan, so they would have dropped down a division because Kiernan was playing for West Ham, wasn't she? And Campbell was with City. She had a really bad injury there, but they dropped down. Eve Fahy as well was part of that Liverpool team, so they dropped down a division. Won the league quite comprehensively as well. Kiernan actually scored at the weekend, got an assist. I keep saying this again and again, Martin. I think you kind of agree with me. This is one of the most exciting women's teams I've seen in a long, long time. I think since the days of Emma Byrne and goal and that kind of golden generation. This is a really exciting one, and those 3 Irish girls are a really key part of that Liverpool team, who will probably do really well, in the top flight next year. But great to see them. Great to see them doing so well and taking that risk of dropping down a division. And I mean, the likes of Kiernan and Campbell, because of their injury issues, it just seemed the natural progression, the right step for them. And they're very important.
And the Liverpool captain is Irish.
Yeah, Nifahi. Yeah, fantastic.
Nifahi,
I mean, she's had an amazing career. She was at Chelsea at one stage, wasn't she, as well? And,
it's fantastic to see.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Congratulations, ladies. You have deserved it. Right, we're going to talk another player who's doing really well. He's actually not dropped down a division, so to speak, but has gone on yonder and got out of England, and that is Mr. Joshua Cullen. Lads, let's take a look at his stats. Mr. Cullen has had a lovely season, playing every league game for Anderlecht. Even in the cup final last week, he did actually miss his penalty, but he scored his first goal. Now, they may have lost 3-1, lads, but it doesn't matter. He scored his first goal. He's doing really well over there, isn't he?
Yeah. It was that Belgian team that got promoted, didn't they? And now they're top of the league, so it's a unusual kind of story, that. But no, Cullen's class, isn't he? I mean, I know you're a big fan, Martin. He's just he's going to be huge. I mean, he's already a very important player for us, but he's just very different. Like, he's just very comfortable on the ball. He can control the tempo, and good to see him getting a goal. He used to have that ability where I think at Charlton, he used to get into the box an awful lot. He'd drive into the box, where he sits a lot for Ireland. So it's nice to see him getting forward and kind of getting a bit of a tap in at the weekend. Great player, though. And I mean, he's really taken a gamble there, and it's paid off nicely.
Do you think there's any chance of him getting a move? Like, would anyone come in from the Premier League? Because you think about teams who are struggling for defensive midfielders. I mean, his profile's risen massively.
Yeah, I saw something last week that Fulham were looking at him. And now that was kind of I don't know if that was fan content or what it was, but like there was talk of Fulham. I don't know who else though. I mean,
West Ham, if Declan Rice goes to United,
possibly.
Never know. Yeah, like Premier League wise, it's difficult to know. Like, I mean, we said this a few months ago. We said the form and the stats. Now, look, the game. We said this off air. The game isn't all about stats, is it? But the statistically, what he's producing. That kind of form would get Premier League attention, because I mean the Belgian league is the Pro League, like they export a huge amount of decent players, so you never know. But I mean, it's where does he go? Like, it's kind of a Southampton or a Brighton or something like that he'd be going to.
I'd like to see him stay there and do it again. Do it another season there at that top level, playing all the time. I mean, that you've got to just admire his kind of fitness and aptitude to that, to be able to play week in, week out. And he hadn't missed a minute, and that's really few and far between players who do that now these days. So, for me, probably first name in the team sheet for Ireland, to be honest, because he's just the mainstay in our midfield now, isn't he?
He'd probably go back to he'd probably go back to West Ham and somehow manage to declare for England. Knowing them, he's a class act. Like, he's really good player. Probably the first name on the team sheet, to be honest. And then our final little IS moment, Mr. James McLean. He is injured. He's out for the rest of the season, I believe. But he was included in the League One team of the season. Funnily enough, he was down as a right forward, actually, a right winger, with his 10 goals and 7 assists. To be honest, not really a surprise. He was excellent for Wigan. It looked a bit of a doddle for him at times, isn't it? Some of the goals he got, he was just running. He's just running.
He's the fittest player in that league, isn't he? And he's 33. I mean, I wouldn't rule him out of the summer games. I really wouldn't, because it was the same last year, wasn't he? He got injured kind of around the same time of the season. He came back. Now, look,
his exit.
I've made it very clear that I don't think he should be a starter for Ireland. I think he has a role. He certainly has a role to play. Yeah. I actually think he's the most improved player under Stephen Kenny. But yeah, look, I mean, his fitness and the way he looks after himself, that was very fruitful this season. And as well as that, like the whole Stoke thing, like Stoke, Michael O'Neill at one stage was playing kind of a diamond, wasn't he? And that just didn't suit McLean. So like he's gone to Wigan, and it's, they kind of play a 4-2-3-1, don't they? And it just suits him a bit better. Like, I know this, I might be contradicting myself from a few months ago, but I think it'd be no harm seeing him play a bit further up for us, because he's scoring a lot of goals. Now, people say it's League One and so on, but I mean, Ogbene's playing there. He's shown that he can do it at international level. There are international players in League One.
Yeah, I think there will be games for James McLean to play in a more forward role. We just need that bit of directness. For struggling against a lower team.
It's great delivery. Like we forget how good his delivery. Like, the thing is, like, his decision making under Stephen Kenny is much better. It's much safer. I think under Martin O'Neill, you could see that there was very little instruction there. I mean, that's been confirmed by loads of players. Very little instruction, and he was flying into tackles. He was dropping his head and driving and not making any yards. He was brutal under Martin O'Neill. And I know he scored the goal in Wales and the goal in Austria, but apart from that, brutal. Where under Kenny's obviously said, look, you're a good player. You're extremely fit. You've an unbelievable delivery. You're very defensively good. Take a step back, take a breath, and see how you get on, and play things very, very simply. Like if you look at the goal that Callum Robinson scored in Azerbaijan, that McLean set up. Like I think McLean under Martin O'Neill just drives. McLean under Kenny, it's the simplest of balls. Such a simplistic ball into Robinson, and then even as recently as the Belgium match, he wasn't taking chances on things that he didn't need to. He wasn't picking these incisive balls that he's not capable of making. He was holding on to the ball, holding on to possession, and playing the simple pass and creating more as a result. So no, he's been excellent. Since he's gone to Wigan, he's been excellent. Since Stephen Kenny's come in, I think he's been excellent. And I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him player wise, not personal wise, but player wise, I'm not a fan of him. Yeah. But I think he's been excellent. I think he's actually been the most improved player under Stephen Kenny.
Yep. Anything to add to that, Mark?
Yeah, my thoughts on that. Look, I was just looking up there. He's on 90 caps. We've got 4 games in June. He's going to be available for all of them because he's just mad and passionate to play for Ireland. I'm delighted that he got into the league team. I think it's fully deserved because we've been doing our episodes on a Monday, and we've been mentioning him all the time with his assists and goals. And fair play to him. He took the risk to go down. I think, look, let's be honest, I don't think he would have played in those most recent games unless he'd had that move downwards. To be getting a run of games with him. He wasn't getting a look in at previous clubs he's been at. So I think it's admirable what he did. He's 33 years old, incredible fitness, doesn't drink, I don't believe. So he's going to be around. He's going to hit 100 caps, isn't he?
Oh, no bother to him. But as I said, like he won't be fully fit in the summer, and he'll still play, and he'll be fine.
He'll still be available.
He'll have one leg and still be playing. Right. Let's move it on to the players not doing so well, should we say? Richard Keogh here, look at him. World's most terrified looking man. Right.
Him and Phil Jones.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was going to say something there, I won't. Okay, let's move it on to these lads here. So another player, we mentioned him last week, Martin and I did. Liam Scales. He did appear. I thought he'd gone missing, to be honest with you, lads. He was on the Celtic bench, but he wasn't used. Since he's joined, he's had 5 90-minute appearances. He's featured in the squad for the first time since February, obviously unused, and his last game was at 2-0 loss against Bodo Glimt in February. It's gone very wrong, really, for Liam Scales, hasn't it? I mean, we'll probably move him on to the next level next week because he probably still won't be playing. Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't get any football, I think, Martin, you said last week, didn't you? He needs to get a pre-season maybe under his belt, but... If he doesn't, it's...
I think in his defence, lads, he's played nearly a full year of football because he was with Rovers and then didn't he move in August? So he's nearly played a full... Now, he's not playing every week, obviously, but, he's training at a much higher intensity at Celtic, and playing for nearly a year without any pre-season because his last pre-season was the domestic football in the League of Ireland. And, Scales is a guy that I've kept an eye on since Kenny name-checked him when he got the under-21 job, and I had no idea who he was. And then I saw him a few times in Dalymount Park. Saw him once in Tolka Park, I'm afraid to say, for UCD. So I'd seen him playing. I remember thinking, this guy's excellent. I think on the one pitch at the same time, James Talbot and Liam Scales were there, and within a year they were both in the Ireland squad. Now they've yet to get capped. He's an excellent player. And I actually think anytime I seen him play for Celtic, he was very, very good. Now, he was really, really bad against that Norwegian team. And that's the last game he actually played for Celtic, But he's, he's played a bit of left back, hasn't he? I think he's like a left-sided centre-half. And, we don't have any left-footed centre-halves, really, do we? Unless you put Ryan Manning in there or unless you get Derek Williams back. So, hopefully it works out. But my big fear for him, and the reality is, I think he's going to go down the route of a lot of the other Irish lads at Celtic. No, I actually think he's going to go to another Scottish team. Maybe the likes of Ross County or St. Mirren or someone, and then if he doesn't get on well there, it's very hard for him to get back. He's an excellent player, though. He really, really is. But I think
Celtic seems to be a bit of a kryptonite now for Irish players, doesn't it? Like, no one seems to be doing well there. James McCarthy can't get well. I mean, James McCarthy.
And I don't think for a minute that's down to the club. I actually think it's down to the players, because I mean, Leo O'Connor, I don't think he worked hard enough. Jonathan Afolabi hasn't worked hard enough. Like, it's plain to see. Luca Connell's probably one of the only ones I think will come back and actually play. Like, he's doing really now. Look, he's playing in fucking Scottish League 2 or something, but he's apparently he is the standout player in that league, and he's played senior football for Bolton in the Championship. Like, he'll come back, I think, and he's still very young. But the thing with Scales, I think the big issue there is that he's played a full year of football. He hasn't really had a break. He's an excellent player. I think he will come back, and I think Postecoglou, the Celtic manager, I think he does like him, and I think he does rate him.
Yeah, I think it might just be a bit too early for him now, and you've got to remember, like, Celtic are competing for the title, and it's probably too much of a risk to kind of put him in. That's why he's on the bench, maybe covering for someone who may be injured in the first team. But yeah, like, I think if he went down a level, it might be a loan move and stuff. And I think, like you said, the manager does seem to like him, and I think the risk would be for Celtic if you let a player go too far, like if you let him move on completely to like a English league team. They're kind of away from you a little bit. Whereas if he goes away on loan in Scotland, you can kind of keep an eye, kind of pull him back in if you need to, not let a player kind of get away who's actually highly rated. I think a massive factor as well is obviously playing that so much football as well. And it is a step up, let's be honest. Celtic is a step up from where he was.
Fair enough. Right, let's move on to another one. Festy Ebiseli. Now, he is moving to Udinese in July. But he's been left out the last couple of squads over his attitude. 33rd appearances for the Rams this season, 2 goals and 1 assist. Obviously a player with a lot of promise. But a bit of a Charlie, if you'd believe what Wayne Rooney was saying, bit of a Billy big bollocks going around, not giving not giving the right attitude around by the players. Rooney said, no, don't want you anywhere near. Even though relegated.
He's a young lad though, isn't he? And he's just had his move, and that club is a club in turmoil. I actually had a lot of admiration for Rooney. I see what him.
Of course, he did. He's ex-Man United.
No, he did. He's viral. No, I just like the style of management and his approach to it, and pulling everyone together. I mean, that was a club who obviously got relegated, but in like great adversity, basically, because it was such a mess. And Rooney, I think, will have a great career as a manager. I think it's just something about it. He's a natural competitor and winner. It's interesting, though, you've dragged me into Man United now, but I'd have questions about why are we playing players who have openly said they're leaving? It's naturally going to happen that a player, he's got his big move now. He's got a down tools. This team's going down. He's made the decision. He's got his move. That's not his fault contractually. Yeah, exactly. Contractually, though, he doesn't want to risk anything now. The team are down. If Derby really wanted him as part of the future, they would have done everything to keep him. And it's just an interesting one from that perspective, I think. And I'm sad to hear the man. Whenever you hear an Ireland player, their attitude questioned. Although I'm kind of defending him here on reasons why it's possibly happening. I don't like to see that, basically.
Like he mysteriously pulled out of the 21 squad, didn't he? The Ireland under 21 squad. So you'd wonder. And the thing with him, like, lads, I mean, he's full of pace, but looks like a headless chicken at times. I think we're getting carried away about Ebiseli out of all the young lads.
Carried away,
I think. And Rooney did say about it. No, everyone. Like, no, look, he's going to be a great player, but at the moment, like, I mean, I've watched full Derby matches, and at times he's just completely headless. And it's not saying he's a bad player. Like, he's raw, and he will. I'm sure when he goes to Italy, which is a bit slower pace, he might get a bit more control to his game, and he might get a bit more end product. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad player. Just as I said, the rawness is there, but. But I think, was it Luke Plange that Rooney sided? I think he's gone to Crystal Palace, and he kind of came back on loan. So a similar kind of arrangement to what Ebiseli has, except he hasn't permanently signed yet. And he said that his attitude has been phenomenal, and Ebiseli's hasn't been. So, it's I think that's telling, and I think Rooney really thought highly of him, so I don't think he's going to drop him if that's the case. If it was the case that he needed him, or he felt he wasn't as big as the team.
Well, if Wayne Rooney says your attitude is bad, then you must be in trouble. Let's move on to another one. You're going to love this one, Martin. Cheeky one from me. Roy Keane. Is he going to come back as a manager with Hibernian of Scotland? His managerial record is sketchy at best. Yes, you heard it here first. It is a sketchy managerial record. So send all your hate comments my way. But you know what, actually, and you know, I'm gonna start doing a video about this. My right to reply some of the comments I get. Bit of an Alan Partridge type video, you know, where I get slated. Do you know, right? I got slated for being fucking pro Roy Keane, anti Roy Keane, pro Mick, anti Mick. I can't win. Anyway, sorry. I am going to start calling people out. So here is his managerial record. One promotion with Sunderland in 2006, 2007. Then he buggered off in 2008. Then he was Ipswich manager from 2009 to 2011. Said he would get him into the Premier League the following season. He was actually he was close to getting him into League One. He has not managed for 11 years. Now, before, Martin, I could see it. I could see the little cogs rolling. You know, how am I going to defend Roy Keane this week? Just going to answer a question here from Paul Culleton, good friend of the podcast. How do you think you guys, I can't even read tonight. How do you think Roy Keane will do as manager of Hibs if he gets it? Well, Martin, you're going to think he's going to do a spiffing job, aren't you? Because you love Roy Keane.
I don't think he should go anywhere near this at all. I think he's better as a pundit. He's going to achieve nothing up there. I don't think anywhere. It's just not even worth entertaining. There's two teams in Scotland, isn't there? And that's it. It's not like he's like, I could understand why Steven Gerrard went to Rangers because it was a stepping stone. And that stepping stone is long term is going to be for him to go to Liverpool eventually when Klopp goes. That I believe is Liverpool's long term plan. I don't think that's a stepping stone at Roy Keane's age of 51 now, moving to there, unless, you know, he's got to try and do something that only the greatest manager ever was able to achieve. Sir Alex Ferguson, I'll get that in, you know, by breaking up the old firm. And you're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it out there. So I can't see why it's even an attractive proposition for him, to be honest. And I think he should stick to the punditry. He's a lot better for that. I think you've got to remember as well, the time frame on this is, you know, we've got a World Cup year coming on. Roy Keane's going to be all over the TV on that, isn't he? As a pundit at the end of the year. So
I think as well, like Sean Maloney was very highly rated, wasn't he? Like Anthony Barry essentially replaced him at Belgium, and he was very highly thought of. And you know, he hasn't. I actually think he's done worse than what's his name, Jack Ross, who was in beforehand. Like I think he was relatively popular with the Hibs fans, and I think Maloney. I think the general consensus is that they wanted him to stay on longer. And they were very critical of the board for letting him go so early. So, I mean, if they're impatient with Jack Ross, who had experience up in Scotland and with Sunderland, and impatient with Sean Maloney, who's considered a really bright, young, up-and-coming coach / manager, they're not going to be very patient with Roy Keane when the inevitable happens, are they?
No. Why are people still talking about him? Trying to get into management. Why do people still think he can do a good job as a manager? Like,
I think he did do a good job as a manager, to be fair to him, over the years. But my point is, he's been out for 10 years. Well, I think as well, it's not as if I think if Roy Keane was going for a Championship or Premier League team, it makes some more sense because he's doing punditry on them. He's watching their football week in, week out. I don't think he's really watching Scottish football to know the players. And especially at that level, who you're going to be bringing in. And it's not going to be the most attractive kind of options to pull players up there. You're not pulling them up to Celtic and Rangers to play, which Gerrard was able to do and Brendan Rodgers was able to do, and Martin O'Neill before him. That's just not happening anymore. Did you think I can't see it.
Did you actually think he did a good job at Ipswich?
But he didn't. Yeah, look, he didn't do a great job with them, but there was other factors with it. But I think you can pull, if you pull a comparative manager like Steve Bruce into the equation. How many clubs has he had? He's done a crap job at some, and he's done an incredible job at others, and that's what Roy Keane went. And I think just Roy Keane's personality is so big that that's what he gets judged on more than anything. We've had lots of managers who've gone back and forth between journeyman managers, and he was never given the opportunity to become a journeyman manager.
Like what we have to look at as well with Sunderland, like Keane, this was 2006, and Keane was able to bring in lads that he played with, and lads that he trusted. Like he brought in the likes of Dwight York, he brought in some young United lads, and he get Johnny Evans when he was quite young. So it was lads he played with, lads he knew from sharing a training pitch with or sharing a football pitch with, where he wouldn't have that now. So I think the Sunderland success, a lot of that was having people trustworthy around him, where he wouldn't have that now because he hasn't. There's no one currently playing at the moment, probably apart from Cristiano Ronaldo, that he's actually played with, and he's not going to Hibs.
Yeah, I listened to a fantastic podcast recently talking about management.
Green Machine,
career of that's exactly no, but you know what I mean. It's worth listening back to that to see how good he actually was under Sunderland, especially. And it hasn't worked out for him as assistant with other clubs and stuff. But you know, like there's some people now would call for Roy Keane just because of his brutal honesty with Man United and as a pundit. You know, they're calling for him to be involved at Man United because, sadly, well, some players have to be kind of ruled by fear ultimately. These big prima donna footballers on massive money, they're not respecting, you know, interim managers and things like that. So if Roy Keane was standing watching your training sessions, you're going to be playing, you're going to lift your level up, and that is something that Irish players who played with him or grew up watching him all said when Roy Keane was watching, our game went up a level. That's just what he inspired.
Didn't last too long though, did it, Martin? Just ask John and Harry Arthur.
Yeah, but look, time will say, and in time we'll look back, and you know, Roy Keane often. I know you set me up as the biggest defender of Roy Keane, but look,
you set yourself up, pal.
Oh, he's very
Keane. But Keane wasn't wrong about Keane wasn't wrong about Arthur. Where's Arthur now?
Bluffers and stuff.
The conference.
I also said Keith Andrews is a bullshitter. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, but I think that you got to read into some of that kind of stuff. That it's you know, that's kind of quips and stuff. And he's probably had a row with Keith Andrews over a period, and they just don't let things go, do they? That's all it is. It's a bit of fun, really. But you know, you hear like players like ex-Aston Villa players who were there when he was the assistant and saying how he ranted for a solid hour at them and things like that. That's big. But he could rightly turn around and say, you know, they weren't performing. He was calling them out, and then none of them went on and shocked him and proved him any different. And that's what he used to get a lot of. It was, I'm going to prove you wrong, basically, when he was questioned. And people this day, they can't do that.
No, it's a different era, though, isn't it? Like that's the problem. Like his way of managing was flickering out in 2006. You know, it was a 90s style of management.
I don't know if it is, though. I don't think it's totally redundant that if you think about it. Like the likes of, I don't think it is. It's not. If you like, if you look at like incredibly talented players, you think of like the likes of Phil Foden. No, if you think of the likes of Phil Foden when he's pissing around and he's, and even Sterling, thinking back to Brendan Rodgers calling him out at Liverpool one stage, you know, they've been questioned openly. They've been dropped by their managers. They've had to come back and prove their managers wrong and play. And if you want to play in my team, you've got to play at that level and be professional. And that's what Roy Keane's called people out over the years on. That's even with the punditry, though. You see him doing his little quips and his like little wry smile sometimes when someone idiotic says something in the punditry, and he thinks, what the fuck?
Normally Jamie Redknapp.
It is that, yeah. He will call out a bluffer, I think.
Yeah, he's a low talent for bullshit, yeah.
I think Roy needs to stay in the TVC. I think he's at a top level club anyway, where he wants to be, even in the top 3 tiers of English football. I think his style of management is passé, to say the least. I think it was gone. It was going out in 2006. I mean, like all the stories you hear about him, you know, you have to love players. I know it makes me sick sometimes when you see how some of these guys go on. Like me, just look at Man United. That annoys me. Even although I do find it hilarious what's going on there with all the players, but you've got to find a way to make them work. You know, you gotta love them. They got to feel love. It's just the way the game is, and he just can't do it. His man management is terrible. I think the problem with Roy, from what I got with him, was that he'll slate you if you're shit, like Fergie would, but he doesn't give you any credit when you do well. I think that's the problem. And I think Kenny Cunningham actually touched on that, didn't he, and off the ball, when he said that, you know, he'd never give you words of, like, he'd give you little words of encouragement, but he never give you praise. he'd give you the odd when he give you that tiny bit of praise, you felt 10 feet tall. And he actually said that if he only gave you that little bit of praise, because his word meant so much, his opinion meant so much. And I'm not putting that down at all. I do think that's quite true of Roy Keane. But if he just knew how to give that little bit of praise, and that is where he falls down as a manager for me.
Yeah, but I think though, like I've read enough stories and read enough things, heard enough things of how he was with youngsters at Man United, and even some of the Irish lads that he came through underage didn't make it. He did have that kind of that apathy for them and looking out for them, and he did have that word for them. No, I know, but I think
Kevin Grogan was on with us just after Christmas, and he said the exact same. He said he was. Yeah. I mean, he young Dubliner at the time, and he kind of said, well, Roy Keane was very supportive of him, and he stood up for him when Nicky Butt was taking the piss out of him and stuff like that. So he very, very supportive towards young lads that he takes an interest in.
But as a manager, that's my problem. Like, you read the stories, like, I'll put the tactics board up and he kicks it, you know? Do you know? When the 2-0 down.
Look, we've had that before. We've had that with Stan when he's kicking water bottles in Germany and stuff. That's just immaturity in a way, and
don't get me
on a bit of a show. But yeah, look, I can't see it happening there. But I don't think it's all over. I think he is a possible player, Roy Keane, in the Man United Legends game against Liverpool, which is in about a month's time, I think.
Hopefully, Jamie Redknapp's playing
and that could be interesting because I've heard from someone that he might be playing in that, and it's because Alex Ferguson's not managing United. Basically,
I'd say, would you reckon McAteer playing that? You can see
McAteer, the legend of Liverpool.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the legends for Liverpool probably couldn't play 90 minutes at their. It's true.
It's true. There's no one who did anything at other ages.
Kenny Dalglish, 70, 71, isn't he? Ronnie Whelan, all these lads are like nearly 60. So you'd have to give it a few years' time anyway. When
it'd be interesting though if McAteer did play in that game. Be good.
Yeah, for sure.
But he always plays those legend games, doesn't he? Anyway, we better move on, lads. We've got another 15 minutes to go or so. So let's move on to the more severe part of our Boys in Green. Those of you who don't know that, think USA 94 when Mexico got the second goal. Right, lads, we'll skip through this a little bit. So the oh no section is basically some of our players that aren't doing particularly well, or in this particular case, actually, somebody who was left out of something that maybe was very unfortunate to be left out. Anyway, let's have a look at it. Gavin Bazunu. 20 years old this season, has had 17 clean sheets in 44 games, and he missed out on the League One team of the season. That's because the lads, I think it was Cooper.
Plymouth.
Yeah, from Plymouth. Yeah, he had 18 clean sheets in league games. Bazunu in total had 17, 16 in the League One, and I think in the FA Cup.
And played in World Cup qualifiers for Ireland. It's just...
Yeah, it's a bit crazy that.
Strange, strange.
I think he's unlucky there, to be honest, Gavin. He's been phenomenal. We can't show you the highlights because Sky, as I said, rubbed my arse with a spoon. So,
is that team though picked by players within the league or not, or is it the EFL votes or whatever way?
I think it's the players, isn't it? They normally. Well, that's PFA, isn't it? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but it was disappointing that he's not got that. He's getting a lot of praise, obviously, for when we talk him up every week. Yeah. Rightly so.
He's our player of the year.
Yeah, he conducts himself really well, as we know. Incredible talent. And like we've seen in the last few weeks, even in other games, like club games, how important the goalkeeper is. And we're in a good position, really, really good position to have 3 fantastic goalkeepers, I think, coming forward.
Yeah. Hold the fort, lads. Very important message just come through here. We will get to your messages, by the way. Folks, do keep them coming in. Kieran Boyle, hi lads. 34 Celsius here this afternoon in Florida. 2 things: get rid of Umbro to Jesus out of it. Steph making a bollocks and goals means Gav will be up the pecking order fairly rapid. Yes, he will. Kieran, thank you very much. And I agree with you. Get rid of Umbro to fuck. Adidas all the way, baby. Hope you're doing well over there. Yeah, I mean, I think they were saying that last week, weren't they? Absolutely, man made an absolute bollocks of the Man United game or the Liverpool semi-final. They wanted to get him back, Bazunu. You never see him make a mistake. Touch wood. Well, let's move on. This one isn't so much players doing badly; it's more just a situation. Let's have a look. So Callum Robinson and Darren O'Shea, and probably Jason Malumbi, if he does sign permanently, are staying in the Championship. It's been confirmed. They missed a 96-minute penalty, I think it was, or 98-minute penalty. They had a very slim chance anyway of getting a playoff place, but they are confirmed to be in the Championship. That's very disappointing, isn't it, West Brom? Normally a bit of a yo-yo club.
It's big volume of Irish lads. And look, they look fairly good at the start of the season. Like Robinson, apparently, haven't watched West Brom in a few weeks now, but apparently he's been awful. Malumbi's been pretty poor as well, from what I've heard. The best player that was remotely going to play for Ireland was Taylor Gardner-Hickman. Apparently he's been excellent, but doesn't qualify for us anymore. And Darragh O'Shea's only back from injury, and has looked a little raw at times. So yeah, it's really disappointing, and sadly the Irish lads there are reflecting their form and their position.
Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame they haven't come up. But I think for Darragh O'Shea, it's not a bad thing that he's going to be in the Championship, get a run of season games. Again, very firmly in the thinking of Stephen Kenny. He brought him into the last squad when he's probably not 100% fit. So he's definitely one that we want to see playing week in, week out. Robinson's a bit different. I think if Robinson had gone up to the Premier League with West Brom, I could have seen Darragh O'Shea actually playing. Robinson would have been in and out of that team, wouldn't have been playing enough. They would have brought someone probably, because that's where I think he is in that level of the Championship. And a little bit like, everyone raving about Mitrovic now. To be fair to him, he's adapted his game and changed a lot. But, he's coming up into the Premier League now with Fulham. And it's an interesting development with that.
It's not a bad place to be, the Championship. Like it's packed with it's one of the best leagues in Europe, and people forget that because it's a second tier. But it's packed with internationals. I mean, most teams, most teams in the Championship, half their starting team will probably have international players in there.
Yeah.
Yep. West Brom started really well, and their season ended flatter than a plate full of piss. There you go. Right, and now speaking actually of a season that's flatter than a plate full of piss, Jamie McGrath.
Oh yeah, poor Jamie.
Joined in January, played a total of 69 minutes of league football, and has not featured in the last 4 squads. Was the darling of the Ireland squad. He had a great game in Faro. Was Faro against Portugal?
Yeah,
he was excellent. Hasn't really done it since then, but everyone seems to think he has. That is just what happens in football. You have one great game and everyone thinks you're a superstar.
Look, we've spoken about this loads, lads. And before he went to Wigan, like I think it was after the Serbia game, and I think we were all kind of saying, we were like, Jesus, McGrath really struggled there, and he went missing, and he just wasn't reading the game whatsoever. And people were going nuts. People were saying, oh, this guy's excellent, and this guy's kind of the missing link. And it was like, he's done really well for St. Mirren. Scored a lot of penalties for St. Mirren last season. Now, he was good, like he very, very dynamic player, and did very, very well. But I mean, this season, he was injured, I think, at the start of the season or for a portion of the season, and Conor Ronan came in and absolutely blitzed him. And we have that tweet from the St. Mirren fan last month, and he was basically saying how Ronan is head and shoulders above McGrath, and he was getting linked with Aberdeen. And he was getting linked with Watford ages ago, and people were saying, oh, he should be going to Watford. He should be going to the Premier League. And it's like, no, sometimes we have to take the green tinted glasses off and kind of say, no, this lad is very, very average. He did very well against Portugal. I don't think he was superb by any means, but he held his own, considering it was his debut, wasn't it? His international debut. And got into decent positions. And then the next few games he played, I thought he was very poor. Like, I thought he just went missing. I thought he had no reading of the game. I thought he had no control in the final third. And then people were wondering why he wasn't getting linked with a team higher than Aberdeen. Went to Wigan. To be honest, I thought that was an excellent move. I actually thought it was a better move than he
wanted to hit the ground running, as he said.
Yeah.
He hit the ground, all right.
And I think, look, whatever injury issues he's had have been, I think they have been a cause for some of the lack of game time. But as well as that, I honestly think he's just been shown up to be very average. And the thing is, he's 20. I think he's 26. So he's not like, he's not a youngster.
Yeah.
And like he could do really well. Like if Wigan go up and he gets a run of games, like I know I'm talking very critically of him. Like I'd love nothing more than to be proven wrong and for him to turn out to be an absolutely excellent player. Like that's fine. I can live with that because it's going to benefit the team I support. But the reality is he was never going to a team like Watford. He was never going to the Premier League and isn't good enough at this stage. I think Wigan, I do think he would have gotten into that team. I thought when he went to Wigan, he would have made the starting team. But you have to remember, Will Keane is playing in that number 10 role for them, and he's 20-something goals this season. Well, so that's another factor that has to be thrown in. Yeah. But I honestly think he's just been showing up.
Okay. Well, next season, I mean, Wigan are pretty much guaranteed, unless a miracle happens, they're guaranteed Championship football. So it should be McLean, Keane, and Jamie O'Brien. You never know. He might get going to Championship.
He could, like he could look, and as I'm being very critical, but I think it's just a realistic analysis of him. But look, okay. he could have a great preseason and kick on.
Super. Right, lads, let's move this on. We got about 5 minutes left, and we got a few things to get through. Just very quickly, some questions here. Paul Culleton, also any word on John Delaney and the FAI reports and investigation seems to have gone quiet over the last little while. Would be great show to have the lads from Champagne Football on. Would be, but I think I think we need to get a little bit more in a big time there to get those lads on. I am in the book, by the way, so Paul, if you want me to sign it for you, just send it over. No, I don't think very quickly, lads. Don't think there's been anything about John really, has there? Just pops up every now and again.
I think there's a lot of embargoes and different bits and pieces going on there. So I'm sure there's
just for mentioning them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's things in the pipeline, but probably a lot of them are very hush hush from a legal perspective at the moment. I'd imagine. I don't know.
Fair enough. Paul, again, how good do you think Nathan Collins will be? I think he could play Champions League football in a few years. He could.
Class player. Yeah, class player.
Just needs to keep going the way he's going, really, doesn't he?
Yeah. Needs to get the head down, not get distracted. There's a certain type of young lad and a certain type of young player like Bazunu. There's a certain polish in him. You can see how driven he is, and you can see how good he wants to be, and you can see that with Collins. It's so plain to see. You could see it years ago when he was playing for the 17s in the Euros. Yeah. You can see that he's just a different type of mindset compared to what we had over the last couple of decades. So I think he will be I think him and Bazunu will actually end up playing in the Champions League in the next 10 years or so.
Fair enough. Val Maguire. Martin, you can answer this one. What do you think about Almeida as a player?
Yeah, I like him. I do like him. I think he played really well tonight in Portugal. He needs to get fit now and get a good pre-season under his belt with Norwich. Again, like I said with Callum Robinson, it's not going to do him any harm, them going down. He's got to start now every week for them, get a good run of games. And I think it's exciting, actually, that we're going to see him. We know that Stephen Kenny likes him. He gives us a different option up front, which could benefit us in June. I'm not sure when he is back, but you might see Callum Robinson on the left, which some people think is his best position. I think it's all very, very positive with him. But he's got to start scoring goals because that's what a forward's got to do ultimately.
Fair enough. Forward's got to score goals. Is that your?
Oh no, I'm just saying. Like, I've told you before. I've given it very clearly on this. I think sometimes we rewrite history. John Walters scored a lot of goals late on, but he was a workhorse for us. David McGoldrick as well hadn't scored for a long, long time with us, and everyone raves now and wanted him back in the team. It's actually, like I said, rewriting history. They weren't prolific. Daryl Murphy's another example of it. And we got to get away from that now. And if you're playing up front, yeah, but Shane Long I think was a bit more prolific, wasn't he? I think he was.
The goal every year.
7 years.
Well, no, I think not like I think he went on a run, didn't he? Though, and stuff, and look, if you look back at our centre forwards, it's interesting. Like I think we've done different episodes and different campaigns. And Simon Cox come off after scoring a friendly, and to be honest with you, for him that was enough to actually say that I'm definitely going to the Euros now in 2012. Yeah. That's because we have so few and far between players who can actually score goals, and that's why Adam Eder has to start doing that when he is playing. I know you took the piss out of me for saying that's what a forward's got to do, but we are playing different football now.
I do not take the piss, Martin. I dare you. Dare you, sir. Right, let's move it on. We got a comment coming in there. Don't forget The bold Bernie Slavin, yes. Ireland's first
Ooh.
first ever Premier League goal scorer was Bernie Slavin, wasn't it? For Middlesbrough.
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Let's
That's a great,
book it. Yeah, there
great
you go.
pub
know
quiz. That I see he met Eric
There you go.
Cantona the other day, so quite impressive.
He
with
did
him.
actually.
Bernie's a good lad.
No.
Yeah.
Eric Cantona
Met Bernie Slavin.
There we are. Right, lads, we're going to move this on. We're running a little bit over time. Let's have a look. Do keep your comments coming in, by the way, folks. We will get to them. Social media watch, lads. Let's have a little look here. I like to scroll through Twitter and see who's blocked me this week. I won't even mention who it was, but if you're watching, you know who you are, and I don't know why. You don't know why. I don't know why you did it, because I do share a lot of the stuff, but I always screenshot it so you know where it's from. And why you'd have a problem with that, I do not know, but whatever. As
I've you blocked as well, Dave, to be fair.
well,
I'm definitely blocking him now.
It's probably the wise one. Well, anyway, let's have a look at a page that hasn't blocked me yet, anyway. Because I always share it anyway. This was funny, lads. Ross Tierney scoring for... This is from Irish Propaganda. Ross Tierney scoring for Motherwell versus Rangers today and then giving it to the Rangers supporters. What a man. I love it. He's got a little tricolour in the shamrock. Sorry, that's just for audio listeners. It didn't last, though, did it? Lost 4-1. Was it 4-1 he lost or 3-1?
Yeah, 3 or 4-1, yeah.
Fuck it. It was good. It was good shit. Irish Propaganda, do give him a follow. They are pretty good. Although he was a bit cheeky and he did take my picture of...
What was that? The Henri one?
Yeah, but I mean, I take his stuff, but I do see. You see, lads, see the way it's got Irish Propaganda on it. See the way you see where it goes, so you can turn around and go, "Oh, that's a nice tweet. I might go onto that page and I might actually follow them because I saw it on Lansdowne Road." See,
yeah, we love everybody. We share the love.
We actually do. And while we're at it, we have a new Instagram in part of the Irish Social Media Brotherhood. See here on Green Machine and Lansdowne Road, we're not afraid of other people, and we do want to help other people develop. And that's Ireland Zone. They're on Instagram. Give them a follow. Actually, very slick graphics.
Very nice.
I'm a bit
excellent.
That, yeah.
Very impressed. Very impressed with them. Like they've only just gotten going, and they're excellent.
Steady
really
on
good.
the fucking praise, Nick. Steady on the praise, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, look at that. That is a gorgeous shot of the Aviva Stadium there. Beautiful photography, just putting it out there. And also another page that does share a lot of my stuff, and I haven't blocked him. Funny. Is Irish Football Retweets. Give them a follow over there. Irish F-Ball Tweet. Actually very handy because they basically retweet everything. So if you want to go to one place to get your stuff, Irish Football Retweets.
I do like their just flick that back up again if you can. I like that. That's the famous shot of the 10 players, isn't it? One player's missing.
Terry Phelan, fan of the podcast and pages, subsequent pages, missing. He was getting what was he going to the toilet? What was he doing? It was the socks, wasn't he? He was putting the socks on or something.
We'll ask him. We'll
ask him. We'll actually get him on one stage. But yeah, so give those guys a follow. That is Ireland Zone. Follow. Just literally type in Ireland Zone on your Instagram. Give them a follow there. They're up and coming. The more people involved and interested in Irish football, the better for everybody. We're not afraid of competition. It is a brotherhood. An Irish Football Tweet, you see, and also give Irish Propaganda a follow there as well before they block me and then I curse them out. As well. Right, actually, that's what was the point in this? Oh yes, here we are. So Paddy Kenny, this is probably one of his most legible fucking tweets that he comes out with. But anyway, let's have a look at it. Paddy Kenny, do not get in the way of this man and pizza, let me tell you. So Paddy Kenny the other night was not happy with Domino's. Here he is. Ordered my girl some cookies from Domino's UK at Bramley. We're nearly 2 hours waiting. Lied about someone being out twice. Now when we're all sat in the house, borderline going down and kicking off. Hashtag Domino's are wank. I tell you, let's be honest, right? We're having a laugh here, but let's be honest. We've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Hangry Paddy Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, you do not get in shame. Yeah, just don't get in that man's way when it comes to pizza or food. Fucking
Wouldn't it be brilliant if Domino's UK had a new manager called Stephen Staunton? That's why I didn't get him delivered. Brilliant.
Yeah. Although probably, how is Stan doing it? He probably, no, I was going to say something that I won't.
No, you're banned. You're banned.
Yeah, I'll be shot in a thing. Well, that's actually one more bit of business to take care of. You want to talk us through this, Martin? Our friends at Kalpa?
Not Kalpa, for fuck's sake.
Kalpa.
No, this is the Confederation of Republic of Ireland Soccer Supporters Club, CRISC, and it's their and they after a number of years break, they're back with the CRISC Cup. So all the supporters clubs around Ireland have been invited to put a team into that, and all around Europe as well. So so that's taking place on Saturday the 30th of April up in Portlaoise Leisure Centre, and then there's a social event afterwards where Jack Byrne is the guest of honour, and the band Catalpa are performing with that. So the FAI president, Jerry McInerney, will be there. Will O'Callaghan is the MC on the night. Usually very good nights with CRISC. We've had Stephen Kenny at events in the past. So Richard Dunn over the years as well. So yeah, brilliant to see CRISC getting back up and running with this. They do a lot of the proceeds from these events go towards charities and stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to get yourself along there to the social as well, you're more than welcome to attend.
Yeah, they're very good actually. Their events. Went to that one in 2019.
Yes,
I was part of Risk London.
Yeah,
we did. You didn't know who I was. I went there.
I did. I fucking did.
I
avoided.
That's what you said. Lads in Galway.
I heard you just. I heard you caught eyes from opposite ends of the room, and the sexual tension was something to behold.
Our eyes locked on with our mutual admiration for Noel Mooney in the middle between us.
Yeah. No, that I'll tell you what.
No, just to be honest, fitting that we remember that event in 2019 where one of the guests was the late great Alan McLaughlin.
Yep.
Would have been 55 this week, just passed a few days ago.
Lovely fellow.
Geez, what a legend he was. I mean, think about it. And what I thought was lovely on Twitter, I mean, let's be honest, we're all on social media. We've been talking about different accounts, but, you know, I've seen stuff from his daughters and stuff posting things up. It's lovely that the Irish football, I was going to say football family, that's a phrase used by our former CEO. But, you know, it's lovely to see Irish fans remembering Alan and what he brought, the great joy he brought to us, I think, over the years, especially that night in 1993. Amazing.
1993.
Four. 1994.
That was 3, wasn't it?
93. Yeah, November. I said 93 first. Then
Yeah.
you had me questioning it.
You said 94.
I said 93. Listen back. I said 93.
I am going to listen back.
You fucking can listen back.
Send your hate tweets to Lansdowne
93
Road.
to get us to 94. But if you listen back, I did say 93 originally.
Yeah, I'm block me like some other pages do. I haven't. Fucking God, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, you can listen back, and if I will listen back, and if I'm wrong, I'll say nothing. I'll quietly drop it like this. I've been doing on my page all week. Ooh, you didn't explain what happened with Alvin Haaland and Roy Keane. Well, if you read the fucking post, never got back to me. Oh yeah, said that I shouldn't be talking about Roy Keane because it was an incident that happened in this Man United kit, not in an Ireland kit, because we're called Lansdowne Road.
Shame on you, Dave. Shame on you.
I know, right? It's the sort of shit you got to put up with, man. Seriously.
Anyway, we can't talk about any player, like Gambazuna, we can't tell any player for their club form.
No, it'd be a very short podcast, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, we are running a bit over, lads. We're gonna wrap it up like a Christmas, like a Christmas present in April. Oh, fucking punchy. Right, let's get into it. This week, back in the day. And this week, back in the day, we're going to talk about... We're not going to talk, actually. We're just going to play it, really, aren't we? The clip we've got for you this week, folks, is going to be Ireland-Portugal from 1995, when we beat them 1-0 at Lansdowne Road. This was the last great performance under Jack Charlton. It all went a little bit sideways. Martin, obviously, you were around for that. Nick, you were a dribble down your daddy's leg. Get that image fixed into your mind there. Do you remember this match, Martin? Did you get to see this? Was this
I
showing
saw
over
it
here?
I saw it on the TV. Yeah. I wasn't over it, but
Yeah, we
I do
battered him,
remember
didn't we?
it, Yeah.
Pat-
It was the long haired Portuguese
Couto.
Conto.
Ronaldo
Couto.
If you talk to Aldo, it's Kilto. Yeah, he spotted him, didn't he? And he gave him fucking all. I should have put that picture up. Bollocks.
Yeah.
Next week I will. I'll put that picture up of him giving him all that. Anyway, here it is. Guys, after this we're going to go straight on to the off. Thank you very much for your contribution, Nick. Good to have you back. Thank you at home for watching us again and tuning in and your comments. Just remember you can follow us on the Facebook page, Lanzarote.ie, the GM podcast. You can go to the GM Green Machine podcast website. That's greenmachinepodcast.com. You can get all of our content. I can't speak tonight, sorry lads. You can get all of our content on there, all of our podcast, our manager episodes, the whole lot. You'll even get an audio version of this if you want to fall asleep listening to my dulcet tones. And as always, remember, do not use goatskate.com because they are bastards. I'm not leaving that go. I'm an Irishman. I'm driven by two things, alcohol and spite, and I don't drink anymore. So there you are. Right, lads, we're going to go into it. Just a couple of lovely comments coming in there. Billy Young, thanks, guys. And Jerry Hackett, well done, lads. Well, thank you guys
Cheers,
for
Jerry,
watching.
my cousin Jerry there.
Thank you very much, guys, for watching. We're going to leave you with... it wasn't really a John Aldrich goal, was it? It was... what was his name? The goalie. Fuck it.
Baia, yeah.
Victor Baia. Victor
Yeah.
Baia. Didn't have a C. Couldn't afford a C. There you go, lads. We're going to leave you with this one. We'll see you next week. Same time again, 9:15. And yeah, come on, you boys in green.
Here's Staunton. Forward again for Quinn. George Costa out of the middle. Slid through beautifully for Staunton. Still Steve Staunton.